Hey guys, it's Erin with Happily We Go, and today we are going to make a Flowish Journal. Now, this pretty one I got here, I made for Miss Tiffany over at Southern Gal Designs. She and I are going to start a collab doing these Flowish Journals. So I thought, why not make a tutorial on how I made this so you guys could make one too if you want. I'm not going to open up this one and show you because I want this one to be a surprise for her, but we are going to make one here shortly. So if it's something you think you might be interested in, then just keep watching. So first off, I'm going to use this denim pad that I got. I'm not sure where I got it from, but it's really awesome and I love the feel of denim. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose which pattern I want. You're going to choose two patterns, one for the side and one for the binding. You could use the same one if you wanted, but I like to mix it up and have two different ones. So once you've chosen your paper, see, it's almost like this papery, it's not really a vinyl, but it's like paper on the other side. So once you choose which ones you want, we're going ahead and cut them down. The best way to do this is fold the paper right in half, and there'll be a fold that you can actually see. And make sure that you have the little hole. We want to keep that in there. So make sure that that is on one of your sides, not on the top or bottom. And of course, if you get a little snag, it's okay, just grab some scissors and cut it. Or nippers, whatever the heck is close by. So there, we have our front and back covers. And now we're going to go ahead and cut the spine area. You want 5 inches in. And there you go. Then I'm going to take my rulers. You could use any ruler. I just like these quilting rulers because they have all the lines on it. And we're going to score here at 1.5 and just push along the sides because again it has that good fold, so you'll see where you need to be. And then give them another good fold so that way you've got the lines really well done. Then we're going to take our covers. So now I'm going to see, you can kind of see how it goes together. And you're going to sew on the line from the front. So as you can see, I did a zigzag stitch straight down the side, and I left that 1.5 inch flap on the inside, and you're going to see what we do with those in just a little bit here. But we are going to decorate the inside now. So I'm going to throw on some music and you can see what I do. So my camera shut off and I totally missed getting this, but all I did was just some quick stenciling and then colored in some of those dots. Nothing too fancy. So now we're going to get our middle meats of the journal, and we're going to use a regular old manila folder. You can get it at any office supply store, and we're going to cut it down to 6 inches. And this is going to be our inside. So you're going to do that with 2 of them. And then what I also like to do is cut down one side 1 inch shorter, so that way when they lay out, they almost have like an accordion style look. I think that's what that's called. And don't worry about if you get fingerprints on it like I did, because we're going to cover those up with some pretty papers. So make sure you're thinking about what kind of pretty papers you want to use, and then you can measure and get those cut down to size. But first, let's get this little binding glued onto our file folders. I'm going to use my favorite, the Suquane tape. I think I have like 4 different rolls of this, but I couldn't find the smaller size. So we're just going to roll with this one and then do some cutting. Okay, so now that we got that on there, we are going to glue them down. So you want to butt up your file folder up against the edge there, and make sure you leave a little bit of space on the tops there. See how the file folder doesn't go all the way to the top, so that way you don't have sticky edges. And then you're just going to pull it up, hold it down, and slide it over and push it down. Easy peasy. And then we're going to do the same thing with the next side, but this time you want to make sure that you have it going the correct way. You want the shorter side on the inside, so we'll tape down the other side. And see, then you can see the little edges I'm showing you there. And make sure you line them up with the other one so they're straight across on the top and bottom, and then push in to make sure it's butted all the way up, and then tape it on down. Okay, so there, now we got those two file folders in there. And now we're going to work on the center part. But I totally forgot to punch the holes before I glued it in. And that's okay. You can punch holes prior to, or you can take a little awl like I have here, and you're just going to, or like a paper piercer, you're just going to push a hole through the top, not all the way, not too close to the end, but far enough down on both sides. And then we're going to string some pretty ribbon through it. And this is what we will help hold down our papers with on the insides. So I'm using actually I think it's a leather needle, but you could use any needle that's big enough, and I just stuck some ribbon through it so that way I could tug and pull and get it through the holes. So go in one and then through the top one. And then pull it through tight on the back, measure it out, how long you want it. I like it a little longer to hang down because it's pretty, and tie a little bow, and you're ready to throw some papers in that one. And then just go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so there. Now we've got those in there, and now we're just going to go ahead and cover up the manillas. You could leave it, you could do your own art. I just have a lot of scrapbooking paper, so I thought, why not throw some pretty papers on there? So we're just going to take that sequin again and throw it on there. You could use a glue stick or you know, any other kind of glue. This is just really easy for me, and like I said, I have so much of it. It's just quick. I only do one side at a time, so I'll put it down, making sure it's lined up good, and then I'll go back and pull each other one down so I get a nice flat press and no little air bubbles or anything like that under my papers. And then I'm just going to cut around the edges because you know, it was an estimate cut. It wasn't an exact cut. I kind of eyeball things, and that's just how I do it. So there we have the first page, and then we're going to go ahead and do the rest of the pages. And there you go. Now we got all these pretty papers inside. And I forgot to do those ones. You can leave them blank, or you can totally do it. I will probably come back and do it off camera and then show you later. But so now that we have that done, we are going to work on some pockets. And we're going to put one on the front and on the rear because I love pockets. So you're just going to cut down another strip, just a 6-inch strip, and then cut your pockets however big you want. And I went ahead and zigzagged all the way around those pockets again because I like, you know, things to kind of match a little bit. And then we're going to take some really tiny sequin tape here and put it over the stitching and just do it on 3 sides of the pocket, obviously. But I'm just going to say it anyways, so that way you leave the opening to put stuff in on the top. And then again, I'm just going to eyeball it here. Press down good. And voila! The front pocket done. And then the back pocket, I wanted it to go vertical instead. but we have where this little hole is. So now, here's what we're going to do for that. I'm going to take another piece of that denim paper, and I have a hole punch here, a circle punch rather, and I'm going to circle punch out a piece of this denim. Now I can push as hard as I want, but it's not actually going to punch the hole. So, but it's going to give us enough of an outside ring so we can see where to cut it. And there you go. Now we have a cute little denim circle. So I'm going to zigzag stitch all the way around the outside of that circle, and then also go ahead and line it with the double-sided tape. We're going to use this to reinforce that hole there. We're going to use the hole for part of the enclosure, so I want to make sure that it doesn't get ripped off. So fold over your circle and then give it a good press down, and then kind of get an idea of where you want it to be. You want the circle, the little circle there, to be in the middle of the bigger circle. So that way it'll be nice and reinforced rather. And here's just me futzing with trying to figure out which side I wanted the little leftovers of the thread to go. And then what you want to do is only pull back half of the double-sided tape, so that way you can get a good line up there and you don't get sticky all over the place. And then just pull it off and fold it over. Give it a good squeeze and a good push, and boom, you got your cute little piece glued on. And then you're going to take, I'm using my Crocodile. You could use any hole punch. And then you just kind of want to eyeball where the center is and give it a little punch, because we know the other hole was near the center. So that way we'll have a nice good reinforced punch. Now we can get back to that pocket. See, I didn't want it to go overlap. I wanted to have enough space there so that way the half circle wouldn't get in the way. So go ahead and line this pocket the same way as you did the other one. Just put that double-sided tape or glue, whichever you decide to do, on 3 of the sides. Then eyeball where you want it and press it on down. Give it a good push, and there you have it. Now I could have cut off that circle, but oh, I just like it. It's so cute, and I think I'm going to use that for decoration purposes. So now we're going to punch the center where our elastic pieces are going to go. And you can eyeball it, which is probably what I would do, but I'm going to show you probably the right way to do it. Line up where your seams are on either side, fold it over, and then press really hard. And then that way you'll have, it's really hard to see in on camera here, but there is a line, and then you can hole punch your hole right there. You could also measure if you want, so both sides are evenly spaced in, but I'm just gonna eyeball it and go. You don't want to go too close to the end because we're gonna put these grommets on there, but you also don't want to go too far in, because then you're gonna have a shorter area where you can put your papers, and you'll see that later on. So I've got these little fasteners. I think I called them grommets, sorry. I have these fastener pieces, and it comes in this little kit, and there's going to be 2 different sizes of pieces. There is one that's kind of thicker, and then one that is shorter, not thicker, I guess it's taller, and one that's shorter. See, you can see here. The taller one goes on the bottom, and then the shorter one goes on top. So you're going to take your little piece and shove it through that hole, and it takes a bit of finagling here, so I'm going to speed it up so that way you don't have to sit here forever. Push around, push around, push around. You get it through the hole. And then you take this rubber stopper and it goes in the back, and that piece just sits in there nice and snug. Then you're going to take your short top and you're going to push it onto it. And then take your little metal piece and then hammer it down. And there you go. Now you've got the perfect fastener. And you're going to do that on the other side, but I'll go ahead and speed it up for you. And there we go. Both fasteners are on. And I think this journal cover is coming together pretty good, if I do say so myself. So the next step is elastic. We are going to take some elastic to feed it through those. If you have corded elastic, that would be awesome, but I do not. I just have this really thin, flat elastic, and for this purpose, I think it works perfectly fine. Use what you got on hand, right? So feed it through one of the holes, and then up through the other one, and then you're going to go back around again. So both of your end pieces will end on the inside of the journal. That sounds odd, I know. Sometimes it takes my brain, like right here, a couple seconds to remember what the heck I'm doing. But eventually, you'll get there. I didn't measure mine. This was just whatever was left on the roll, which wasn't very much, but it just happened to be the right amount. So you may have an easier time tying your knot if you have a little bit more to work with. But you just want a little knot there, and then you'll end up with 2 elastic pieces to feed some of your fancy papers through. Now the last step we have to work on is going to be our closure. And for that, we're going to break out something fun. Oh, there's just something so fabulous about buttons. So what seemed like forever, I finally came up with about 4 different button choices that I liked. And, you know, it just kind of ends up coming down with what feels right. Which button feels right? It's got a feel to it. So I decided to go with this white chunky one here. And then we're going to go back to that hole that we punched earlier. And we're going to take just an elastic hairband. I buy these to use in my books all the time. They are awesome. And you're just going to push it through the hole and then pull it through the other loop, and boom, done. Easy peasy. So now we're going to take that piece to line up where we want our button to go. So once you get that figured out, you're going to go ahead and sew your button on. And done. Man, I just love that fast forward. Sometimes I wish I had that in real life, you know? So, because that was so boring, I don't like boring, I found the perfect tiny little accent to go inside that button. And I'm going to take some E6000 and just glue that sweet little baby in there. Done. It's going to let that dry for a couple hours. And we are finished with the outside of our Flow journal. And done! It's been a couple days, but I got this baby stuffed full. I did go ahead and change out the elastic. I went with white instead. I just liked it and added some frilly ribbons and a couple of beads, you know. Just kept it fun and kind of girly because that's just my style. So we'll go ahead and do a little flip through here. And if you're new to Flowish journaling, the idea of it is that everything inside the journal you can take out and use in your art. So nothing is like taped down or anything. I have this cute little pocket or bag here, and I 3M stripped it down so that way it can be pulled out and put back in again. And that's the fun of the journal. And it's just chock full of lots of goodies. So Tiffany approached me and said, hey, do you want to do this Flowish journal together? And I was like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but this sounds awesome. So I made one that you saw in the very beginning of the video to send to her, and she's making one to send to me. So if you're interested to see how she made hers, then I will send a link, or I'll put a link rather, to her channel down below, and you can check it out. But hopefully this tutorial inspires you to maybe make a Flowish journal of your own, or maybe you want to, you know, get together with a friend and you guys do kind of the same thing, because that would be awesome. So I'm super excited to go on this journey, and I hope that you'll stick around and follow along with us because it's going to be exciting. So thank you so much for watching, and have an awesome day.